Good morning, my name is Carl Spencer. I'll be your host for this Communication and Influence webinar. Your screen's going to change shortly in order to give you the maximum benefits of the slides that I'm showing. So let's get straight into it. What is communication and what is influence? Communication is the act of conveying meanings from one person or group to another, and to influence is to have the capacity to have an effect on the character, development or behaviour of someone. Extremely important in health and safety. And it's important because we need to communicate effectively to everyone in order to influence their behaviour and development. Each person you communicate with is different. They have different characteristics, different traits. So we need to ensure our communication fits with them. And it is essential that they understand these different personalities to be more effective in what we're trying to do, more effective in influencing their behaviour, to make them safer. Now, David Merrill and Roger Reed created 4 quadrants back in the 1960s. And we're going to use a twist on these 4 quadrants, put a health and safety twist on it. So let's start with the very first quadrant, an amiable. An amiable is a caring person, a doctor, a nurse, or here, a health and safety person. These are people orientated and they like to ask permission to do something. Now they also have other specific traits and characteristics. Them being that they have a concern for people above all else. These traits and characteristics are very specific to an amiable. They love to build and maintain relationships. They dislike conflict and they're slow decision makers. So we need to understand these traits when communicating with an amiable. The next of the 4 quadrants is an analytic. They're task orientated. And their specific traits, characteristics are they have a high level of emotional control. They like organisation and structure, they're cautious in decision making, and they like to be right, and they will take the time to ensure these. So don't think that you can give something to analytic and he will analyse it instantly and give you a decision. They need that bit of time to do it. The third of the quadrants is a driver. For obvious reasons, we've labelled that the managing director. Now, these are the ones that give the orders. And their traits are they're competitive, they need to win. That's why they're in that position. They tell people rather than ask them, they dislike inefficiency and indecision. And they can be impatient and insensitive. So we've got to get our point across very quickly. And the last of the 4 quadrants is an expressive. An expressive uses feelings to achieve objectives. They're spontaneous and fun-loving. They demand recognition. And they're impulsive and even manipulative. So again, these traits are very specific to an expressive, which we need to use when communicating to them or trying to influence them to do something. So let's quickly just go over them 4 again. An amiable, an analytic, a driver, an expressive. People orientated, ask permission, task orientated, and they give the orders. And what David Merrill and Roger Reed also pointed out was that the people in each corner of the quadrant don't get on. But if you're side by side, then you communicate quite easily. So an analytic and a driver will get on very well. They're on the same wavelength. They'll communicate quite freely. A driver or an expressive, again, they will get on very well and then communicate quite freely. An analytic and an expressive won't get on very well. An analytic is very structured in what he does. He's very organised on daily tasks. An expressive is very spontaneous and fun-loving and quick reacting. And this goes for health and safety and the director. An amiable and a driver, they don't meet eye to eye. One cares for the worker, that's his paramount goal, and the other one cares for driving the business forward. So it's massively important you understand this in the way you communicate with these people, in the way you write things down in documents, even asking for orders for equipment. It's all in the way you write it or say it, because you want to communicate to each one and you want to influence them to do what you want them to do, to make the workforce safer, to give a smarter, safer workforce. So we need to change our thinking. Let's imagine that we're doing a toolbox talk or a seminar on manual handling. We've got a room full of 20, 30, 50 people. And we're talking to them about back pain and back injury. And today we'll probably say to them, if you don't lift loads correctly, you will strain your limbs or back. Because we're trying to influence them to lift the load correctly so they don't get injured. And in this talk today, we'll probably then show them some statistics to scare them, to worry them. Again, some statistics from the Health and Safety Executive, only released a few weeks ago. We might even show them a graph to show that agriculture and construction are the top 2 industries with problems with backache and musculoskeletal disorders. Now, that won't work with certain people, so we need to change it up. We need to change it if we're communicating this to an amiable. We need to communicate to them with concern, emotion, and show that you're keen to help them. So we need to twist that phrase around a little bit. And we need to say to them, 469,000 workers suffered work-related limb or back problems in 2017-18. That's 469,000 people who struggled to play with their family, go for long walks, or even simply make a drink. Don't show an amiable a graph. Show them emotion. If we're communicating to an analytic, we need to change it again. We need to communicate this with accuracy, provide proof, and use logic in the way we say things. So again, this phrase that we say to them will be slightly different. It will say, it was proven by the Health and Safety Executive in 2017-18 that 469,000 workers suffered work-related musculoskeletal disorders, which resulted in 6.6 million working days lost. We're giving them the evidence, the proof. We can show these the graphs. We might even want to give them a handout because they do need to take time to digest this information before acting. The third one is a driver. Again, in our room of 20, 30, 50 people, we've got a driver in the room. So we need to communicate it with force. Be fast-paced and clear with our facts. So we probably say something like the UK spent over 15 billion in 2017-18 on work-related injuries. Now, I suspect you've got their attention. Then you'll follow on by saying 0.5 million of that spend was due to limb and back injuries. Now, because they're impatient, you've got to get your point over quickly. Shorten it down. And the last one is an expressive. To achieve our objectives, we need to show them recognition, use feelings like they do. So again, our phrase will be twisted again slightly more to say, you helped so much with the success of the last training session. I hope you will lead with me in reducing the £0.5 million spent last year on musculoskeletal disorders in the UK. Manipulate them like they try to do. An expressive will do the same and will relate to you more. So with all that together, you now have a choice. We can either continue to communicate the same thing to all of the people, continuing to be at risk, or we can actually move forward and communicate to each individual person as they understand it, or each group of people. And if we can communicate it better, we can influence them better to prevent harm. And that will make us compliant with the law. So that brings to the end of this webinar. We would like you to go online and select a free demonstration of our software, because the software will show you how we can help you communicate, how we can help you influence people. You can also log on to yoursafetybell.com/webinars, and watch the video again and any of the other videos in this series. Now, we do have a handout card with the do's and don'ts of communication and influence. So you can send us an email, click on the contact us form, and we'll send you one in the post. And that's a little handout that you have to share with your workers and your directors and other people in management. So again, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.